Welcome to the Wilshire Gun Podcast.
Less exciting intro. May. Here we go. Jumping right into it. Training stuff's up on the calendar, as always. A lot of good stuff up there. The Masters match, I believe, is concluded. So that one is going to be going away or getting replaced. I don't know if they're going to do basically circuit 2 of it. You'll just have to stay tuned for that one. A lot of your normal offenders there. So come check those out, which we're going to segue into training here a little bit later in the episode. That'll be my big rambling point. But all the good classes are there. Make sure you get signed up early, get signed up often. Training, wilshiregun.com/training. Okay, moving into May sales. Let's see, we got rifle, pistol of the month, which we'll talk about here in a second. Let's see, I'm going to read these because there's some good ones on here. HK VP9, free magazine and Holstone weapon light with the purchase. We got SIG pistol of the month is the 322-22 and a Rose 365 in 9 and 380. So you asked me that question last month. That gun of the month, so come check them out. SIG rifle of the month is going to be the Spear LT and 7.62x39. 22 rifles, 10% off. Additional 5% off soft cases and ammo. All Glocks are 10% off. So all your fan favorites, 19s, 47s, 17s, 45s, 43s, 43Xs. Guess what? There's a bunch of them. They're all 10% off. AR mags, 10% off. Huge saving clearance on the clearance and discount wall. Aaron told me we're doing the dollar wall. So there's going to be things up there. I don't actually know what's going to be up there. There's a bunch of stuff that's getting moved over there, and it's going to be super duper cheap. So come check out the clearance wall. Other things on sale: cold steel axes and shovels. We got some axes and shovels down there. Kind of, herder, axe and shovel. But funny enough, those are actually really useful utility tools that a lot of people don't think about. It's like little trench shovels and hatchet and wood splitting axe type axes down there, and they're not super expensive, and they're not super crazy or anything, but that is definitely something that is handy to have. You throw it in the back of your vehicle and with your emergency stuff or just prepared stuff, because you never know. You got to dig a tire out. Somebody gets stuck. You got to break a window. Somebody, trapped in a car, whatever. Cut, knick-knack, doodad things. Having those on board, they're not super expensive. Just having them tossed back there, something, kind of beaters. That'll help you in a pinch. Definitely worth it. And they're on sale. So, one of those things you probably don't think about on the daily. It's one of those things, though, that if you have it, you'll be glad you have it, more so than getting stuck or stranded or whatever and being like, man, I wish I had this. So, all right, let's get into rifle pistol of the month. This month's pistol is the Springfield XD 10 mil. I'm sorry, this is not an XD. This is an XDM. XDM. 10 mil, so it's the big frame. This is the compact version here. This bad boy is going to be 507. So you're saving off actual sticker, you're saving almost $100 or a little over $100. And even off our current sale price, you're saving an additional $50. So this one, if you're trying to get into a 10 mil gun, this wouldn't be a bad little guy to do it. You just owned an XD way back in the day. Really enjoyed shooting it. Got out of it because it was in 40. Got out of it for something else. But these 10 mil guns, it's a good size. Camping, hunting, survival size gun. You can backpack it, shoot all the giant bears that are around Oklahoma if you need to. But XDM 10 mil compact. So pretty solid gun there for that gun of the month. 507. Coming off here off the side, rifle of the month. Sons of Liberty. You guys have seen Sons of Liberty in the store for quite a while. This one is the M4 Legacy Edition, I believe. Yeah, it's just their basic M4 deal. Price on this bad guy, $776, which means over retail, you're saving just under $200. And off sale price, you're saving another $120. So, quite a deal on this. Now, you say, why should I buy this AR over any other AR? Why should I buy one AR over another? What is the difference? And truth be told, as far as parts, compatibility, all this other stuff, there's not a whole lot of difference in ARs. An AR is an AR is an AR. Now, what you're getting into is quality of parts, quality of manufacturing, and there's a couple different, I guess, schools of thought on that. Of get the cheapest stuff you can, put it together, get a gun that works. Then there's pay more for known quantity parts that will work, and then there's pay exorbitantly more for diminishing returns and small features and knickknacks, doodads, names that work. Where does Sons of Liberty really fall into this? Being a basic AR like this one, it falls into that second category of high quality parts that will work, but there are not a lot of bells and whistles on this gun, which is fine because that gives you the room to build your bells and whistles of what you want. And this getting as cheap as this one is, you're starting to get down into M&P 15 style money. There's a couple other brands like that. And this, like I said, this is a mil spec, very basic AR, but bolt quality, all that good stuff in there is going to be excellent. And you can take basically everything off of this. You're built with you got a platform that will work, that you can start putting on your cool guy rails, cool guy accessories, safeties, all that good stuff. My non-scientific method of testing the quality of AR parts in pre-manufactured rifles, it is not the trigger, it is not anything else, it is actually the safety. Funny enough. Is that really quantifiable, or does that really tell the whole story? No. But I guarantee you, if you walk into a gun store and you feel the safety on like an M&P versus a gun like this, you will be able to tell a difference. And I mean, you can't, I don't know if you can hear it. It's very smooth. There's no like grinding, clicking, anything like that. It's a real easy flick. It's on, flick, it's on, or flick, it's off, flick, it's on. This is a really good starting point for somebody who don't know what they want to do with it, or if they're getting into their potentially their first AR or second AR platform. This is a really good one because you can get onto it with very minor modifications. You're going to be into one of a modern style AR, but you're starting from the base level, so you can figure out what you like and what you don't. Only thing people may or may not like, it does have front sight post, but truth be told, front sight posts vanish if you're using the rifle. You're not going to notice it. So Sons of Liberty M4 on sale, $776 for the month of May. It's a great rifle for that price. Not very many of these in stock, guys. So these probably, when these are gone, they're gone. So come check them out. Come pick them up. They got the big goofy sale tag, and it's, like I said, it's cheaper than what's on the sale tag. So M4. Oop. Okay, we'll just put that guy right there. That'll work. Let's see, what else? Obviously, as always, free range time or private lesson with the purchase of a gun, if that's your jam. So come in, pick your next one up with us. It'll be a good time. And then a happy early Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, all the expecting mothers, everybody else, grandmothers. You ladies make the world go round as much as you don't think you do. Makes a big difference in a lot of lives. So happy Mother's Day. Okay. So my ramble topic, right? My podcast, let's make this a podcast topic. We're going to talk a little bit about gear and training, and kind of, so there's two mentalities that I see, right? And funny enough, like, I'm not trying to be divisive, but it's generally in the age gap. There's an age gap cut where you're either in Camp A or Camp B. Camp A, generally the younger guys, I'm going to buy all this Gucci gear. I'm going to buy all this cool stuff because Navy SEALs run it. Knickknacks, doodads, riser mounts, all this stuff, right? It's good enough for them. It's good enough for me. And if I have that, I have the same capabilities as a Navy SEAL. Versus your older guys of, this is how we've always done it. This is what I used back in, the Revolutionary War. If it was good enough back then, it's good enough now. And basically that kind of stuff, right? Like the go fast, go high, go fast, super expensive stuff. The older, nylon holsters is what I used to have. Good enough kind of stuff. And what does that really mean? So, the easiest way to explain that is, or what I'm going to preface all of this with, as my normal disclaimer, is I'm just a guy. This is not scientific. I have no empirical data on any of this. Okay. So we'll start with any gear will put you above those without gear, right? Like, I have purpose-driven equipment that is going to set me up into a more advantageous position than those who do not. However, the caveat to that, I don't care what gear you have, belt, plate carrier, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. If you have no idea how to use it or how to move in it or do anything like that with it, you're not really at an advantageous position. If not, you could potentially be putting yourself in a disadvantageous position. It's the same thing a couple months ago when I was talking about red dots. Red dots are great. Red dots are cool. Unless you don't know how to use a red dot, and then they can hamper you more so. So, what does that really mean? It means if you're in the camp of, I'm going to buy all this gear because Navy SEALs and all this other stuff have it. You may look the part on Instagram. You may look freaking awesome. However, that is not true. Just because you look like one doesn't make you one. You got to realize those guys dedicate their entire existence basically to doing what they do. They are some of the most mentally strong individuals, in our society. And it's designed that way, but they practice day in, day out on all kinds of stuff, not just shooting stuff. I mean, they do lots of stuff, right? SF guys, SEALs, all those PJ, like all those guys. Those guys have a purpose. They're essentially professional athletes of the warfighting world. They are supported by hundreds of people to do their job. And a lot goes into that. And it's more than if they have a Geisley rail or the Wilcox riser or whatever that is. And this goes for the old gear guys too, but in a different direction, which we'll link back to. So really, I want to stick to the new gear guys. is just because you have it all, if you're not using it, practicing with it, and doing all that stuff, and having the why behind the what, it doesn't matter, and you're making yourself a potential liability. Versus the old timers that are using old timey gear. There is potentially gear that has been developed that you guys have been practicing doing whatever, right? I've been carrying this or this old leather holster with this snap retention for whatever reason. Well, they've developed holsters that are much more uh, resilient, much more efficient, and you guys need to take the skills. You're hampering the skills that you guys have built over a lifetime, hampering them with old crusty gear, right? You go from an old, and not saying that it can't be done with that gear, because it can. However, switching, like I'm just using that as an example of old crusty leather holsters, switching to a safari land. That's going to change. That's going to change your draw a little bit. You're going to have to practice with it, but in the long run, it's going to make you more efficient. There's a reason that nobody in large metropolises or metropolitan words are hard. Police forces and other stuff like that are running around with those old holsters anymore, because there's better, more efficient methods to it. And so, sitting there saying, "Oh, I don't need to do this," you may not. However, it may greatly benefit you to look at evolving with that and moving into the newer stuff. Um, it just helps you out. And so the big deal about all of that is there needs to be a why behind the what. And I see so many people, um, especially like in the younger group, SEALs wearing this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. This is why I have it. Because the SEAL has it. Or, whatever cool guy on Instagram has it. Or the YouTube influencer has it. But why do you have it? Because you want to look like them? And I mean, guess what? This is America. If that's your actual goal, then more power to you. That's awesome. But if you're lying to yourself saying that, I'm doing this because I'm tactically sound and he said it and blah, 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 and you're not aware of the actual what behind the why, or the why behind the what, or whatever it is, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? And I do have a belt over here, and it's not kicking all kinds of stuff. And it's very basic, right? And there's some why behind the what. And we were going to go over that real quick. So this is one of the new Agilite belts. It's actually pretty cool. They have magnets in it. Pretty neat deal. But really my only like big weird stuff on this, mag pouches. Why do I do 2 pistols and 1 rifle? Well, because a lot of times I'm doing this, I use this belt for multiple things: competitions, training, different stuff, just general everyday gun belt use. Everyday gun belt use is kind of an oxymoron for me. But I like to have 2 pistols and single rifle, because I shoot my pistol a lot more than I shoot my rifles. Just out of ease of use, right? I always have my pistol on me. I don't always have my rifle on me. But these are Kiwi mag pouches, and the reason I did that is because I can actually stuff more pistol mags into this rifle pouch, and it'll hold them. I can actually get 4 pistol mags onto this belt at one point, or at one time. So that's cool. Dump pouch, which I hardly ever use for mag retention. This is a very light duty one. It's Blue Force gear. My why behind this is because it's just admin storage. A lot of times it's water bottles, or just whatever stage lists, whatever I have, timers, just whatever needs that doesn't fit in my pocket, because a lot of times when you put this stuff on, you can't get to like jean pockets, or it makes it much more difficult. I have medical pouch that has, some real basic medical stuff in here. Um, this is literally, in modern day and age, I have access to cell phones. I'm not in the middle of nowhere most times when I'm running this, which means an ambulance is, never more than 30 minutes away. So there is stuff here to stop bleeding, and that is about it. There's not, I don't have needle decompression. I don't have, that rubber tube they stick in your nose. I can't think of the actual word for it. So I'd butcher it anyway. But real easy, stop the bleed stuff, as well as a tourniquet up here. You should always have a tourniquet. Honestly, I don't have enough tourniquets on here. I should probably, well, I say not on here. I have more tourniquets in my possession, and that's why I don't carry more in my belt, because they're either in a bag or a range bag or something like that. But you should have access to a couple different tourniquets, because, I would much rather have more than enough than not enough. So real basic med pouch, nothing wild or crazy. This is, so there's two things on here. There's this Shaw leg strap thing, which this is new to me. It's like a padded deal, which actually works out really nice. It's literally just like a pad. But one of the coolest parts about this, and why I went to this, a lot of guys run leg straps, and leg straps are not 100% necessary, but they are necessary for, or what I would consider necessary for, this style holster mount, which is one I'm going to get into. But it articulates. So it swivels, so when my leg moves, the whole gun doesn't move with it. It swivels. Pretty neat. My one piece of like Gucci gear is my True North holster adapter. And that one was, a Safariland UBL or whatever else. Those are absolutely good enough. The reason I went with this one is because it's a little bit more low profile, but it's, I don't know if you guys can really see it. There are, if you look right here at the top, there's 5 holes. Well, that 5 holes repeats about, I don't know, a dozen times down this deal. So you get all kinds of flexibility on wear and the cant of your holster on this thing. It's machined aluminum, so it's a little bit heavier than like plastic, but it gives a lot of options there, which I really liked, so I wanted to try that out. And then obviously a holster hanger. It's important to have holsters. And then, I do have my little knick-knack clip for gloves, and that's, just to hold. You know what, actually this holds more than gloves a lot of times. It has gloves on it right now to look cool, is my keys. When I'm, out at the range or wherever, I hang my keys on there because it's hard to get in and out of your pocket. The biggest reason, we wear a belt is to carry a gun. And here's my disclaimer. Safariland, for outside the waistband, duty / general purpose use, Safariland makes some of the best holsters. There are a lot of holsters out there. These are a little bit more expensive. So there is, take that into account. This is an older style. This is a 6354 DO. It doesn't have the optic covering, like flat plate thing. But I actually like it that way because I find that thing gets in the way and I end up taking them off anyway. It doesn't bother me being an enclosed optic, with the acro. I don't necessarily need to keep stuff out of my dot, like out of the emitter area, because they're enclosed. So that's why I went with the DO. Like I said, this is an older model, and partly because I think they look cooler. That's just flat out, I think they look cooler. Does that have any effect on them? No, but personal preference, and it's my money. So, but one of the other big benefits and the whys of Safarilands is the QLS forks. They literally slot into these deals. So if I want to change guns for the day, or I want to do, something else, I want to carry a 320 or whatever, it just clips in and clips right back out. It's the same thing, same principle as like any other, backpack or clip you've ever seen. They just, snap right in there and you can hear it. And then to take it back out, take it right back out. But that's, and then the actual gun. The gun in there is a Glock 45 with an acro. And it's got a streamlight on it. So nothing crazy. It's all, bone stock, all that good stuff. But does what I need to do, carries my pistol. I draw out of it nicely. It doesn't impede me in any way. So that's kind of the why behind that. So all that to be said, right, is if you have gear, have a why you have that gear. And if you don't know the why, you need to figure out either a why or you need to get rid of that piece of gear because all it's doing is getting in the way. And that's one of those deals that when you actually go out and start doing stuff, right? And honestly, I'm going to catch flack for this. Airsoft, all the airsoft guys, like that is a good way to test that because you're, some of those bigger airsoft events are pretty serious. Multiple days sleeping out in the woods, doing all this other stuff, figuring out what works, figuring out what doesn't. And it's a simulated, non-permissive environment or whatever. So you're going to start to figure out, oh, if I wear this mag pouch right here, it digs into my ribs and I absolutely hate it. Well, you wouldn't have known that because, Rob O'Neill or whoever wore his mag pouch right there, and that's why it's there. So long story short, have a why to the what. And look at, potentially upgrading your what if it's not the most efficient. So other than that, guys, as always, thank you. I hope you were entertained in my rambling. Until next month, can't wait to see you.